Hello, I'm Andrew Williams. I'm currently the president of the board of directors, and my connection with the farm has been over a number of years. So when we first came to the US, we lived in Natick. It's where we moved to, and my son was about 3, a year into our move here, and he joined Forest Gnomes. It was the second year of the Forest Gnomes program, so it was our very first connection with the farm. And after that, I got more connected with the farm because a couple of years later we moved, and now I'm a neighbour of the farm. So the farm is right on my doorstep, and I connect with it in that way and many other ways. Yeah, very much so. It was coming to the farm with my kids, with my wife, and then really getting introduced to the program of Forest Gnomes. So that kind of whole drop-off experience, the fact that they're outside playing, um, in the snow in all weathers, and the reality of that, and also making friends through that experience, and some of those people we're still friends with today. One of my son's best friends is still was made at Forest Knows. So yeah, what it's like being on the Natick board of directors is a mixture of kind of just the admin and the responsibility, but also the volunteering and trying to make connection with the staff and the wider community. So we do things like board meetings and committee meetings, and then we like to really get involved in all the programs. So tomorrow we're going to have Make a Magic, and most of the board will be there, helping, volunteering, and being part of that. And we try and get into the community. And this summer, I'm excited that we're really back to the farmers market in a big way. We'll be out there volunteering on the farm stand at the Natick farmers market, which will be really exciting. Yeah, I think that the thing that really strikes me about the difference about the farm now is it's so much less scrappy. It's just more organized, more professional, more established, and that's because it's had many more years of being able to put processes in place and so forth. What it hasn't lost in that time, though, is that connection with the community. And as a board, we're really conscious to work with the staff and the directorship to try and keep that sense of adventure and risk taking. And I mean risk taking, not being risky, but understanding how kids need to have their own adventures and try new things. And we don't want to edit that out. We don't want to make it a place that's septic, or not septic, but sterile. I mean, so that's what I see is just somewhere that is just much more organized and more accessible because of that. For me, very selfishly, I just mentioned that I'm a neighbor. What I value the most is I can step out of my backyard and just come into green spaces. But for a passion, my whole family is so focused on food and sustainability. My sister actually runs a non-profit in the UK where she is very concerned about food poverty and getting nutritious food to those on low incomes and with poor access to food. It's been such a big part of my life. And if I think about taking it broader, Natick has a mission to be a sustainable town. And without a place like Natick Farm, how do we have a conversation about sustainability? Because without food being sustainable in our community, um, it's meaningless. So for me, yeah, I get access to green space. I see all this wonderful produce, and we grow people, we grow animals, we grow vegetables, and I get to see that kind of changing through the seasons. It's incredible. I'm so privileged to be right here by the farm. And as I say, that bigger mission of sustainability and food is really core to what I think about. Yeah, I think the thing is I'm trying to think about myself, but it's easy to think about my kids. And I think that what they've learned here is coming to the farm and being outdoors and doing activities outdoors. So sure, they do soccer, they might go snowboarding or skiing, but here they're coming to a place and they're meeting other kids, and the activities are outside and the hard work is outside and it's fun as well. So they've really learned to be part of programs and to discover kind of work within those programs. Maybe they would have found them elsewhere, but like this kind of combination of outdoorsness, of the connection to community and connection to food, is pretty unique to the farm. Yeah, it's a bit of a repeat of what I've said. I think that, you know, kids in Natick, the schools have, we have programs with them. Part of our mission and part of our, obligation of the farm is to have those school kids come in and visit and see what a farm is. And they see it firsthand. And you can go to places, there are other farms around here that you can see vegetables growing, you might see animals, but this is a place where you really see the kind of the whole supply chain in one tiny, 4 acre, growing lot, right? And I don't know where else kids will learn that and understand that, a sausage comes from a pig and an egg comes from a chicken, and understand that life cycle and the loss that goes with sending animals um, to slaughter, to harvest, and the joy that comes with picking fresh produce and understanding that tomato is not just appearing on a supermarket shelf or a grocery store shelf, but it's actually grown and it's grown here. And what does that take and what does it mean? So I think that is so important for kids to understand and to be connected to where their food comes from. So I'd probably mention a couple of people. One would be Regina Fritz, who has been volunteering at the farm and was an early volunteer. She actually had the idea for the genesis of the Forest Gnomes program. I'm not sure she actually started running it in the first place, but we connected with her. We were neighbours with her, and I think that influence of the Forest Gnomes program on our family, and she introduced us to the farm. So obviously that's a a big impact. And I think the other person is Casey. He's been is the executive director now, and I've known him since he started working here. I volunteered for the board probably a couple of years after we started. So yeah, just forming that relationship with him through the ups and the downs, and now what a great place he's taken his farm to. Yeah, I think it's where I was looking back at some of the previous interviews, and one thing that really stood out to me was Hildy, and she mentioned she's always so surprised by people who haven't heard of the farm. So if you're watching this, just tell your friends. It's such a great experience. It's free. You can turn up any day of the year. Um, you can see animals, you can see vegetables growing or not growing. If it's in winter, you can go and look, peek through the windows of their greenhouse. Maybe there's produce there. It's a great place to just come and get outside, see things happen, see where your food comes from, and be a part of Natick and the wider community. So please, if you're watching this, tell your friends, forward this Instagram post to someone else. The farm is great. If you haven't been here, you need to be here and just see it for yourself. It's magic. Yeah, I mentioned this already in another question. It's really that the Native Community Farm continues its mission to educate kids and adults and everyone else about where their food comes from and what food means. Um, in a broader sense, I really hope that it continues that partnership with Natick. Natick is going as the ambition to be a sustainable town, and we need to be bringing that to be that focal point of sustainable food, because without sustainable food we can't have sustainability. And I hope that it becomes a focal point of what does that mean to the native community as we go through the next 50 years.